Hey guys, in this video we'll be continuing with the Python video tutorials. In this video we'll be going over global constants. So global constants are used in Python. So it's basically just a constant that we'll be using as a global constant. So there's no actual keyword here that's going to distinguish that it's a constant or not. Again, in Python, you denote the constants with a capital, so all the letters are going to be capital to make them a constant. So in that case, we'll just jump into the code. So I'm already in pycharm as usual. So here we'll just have a constant at the top that's going to be global. So here we'll just call it we'll just say that it's called contribution rate. I guess we can't camel case it since it's all capital, so I'll just use an underscore this time. Then we'll say points to 0.05. So here we'll say def main. We'll define a main function here, and we'll say so we'll call it gross pay variable. We'll say it points to casted float to the input function, and then here we'll pass in the string. For the prompt, we'll say enter the gross pay. Throw a new line here, and then here we'll say bonus. Bonus points to casted float again to an input to the input function. We'll say enter the bonus. New line here again. That can just be like that. Whoops. Oh, that should be in the string. Apologize. So that should be in the string literal here. So then here, we'll say we'll call show pay, or actually we just need to get pay. So let's do that. Let's do that function first and come back. So here in get pay, we'll pass in gross pay. So we'll pass in gross pay here for the parameter, and then we'll go down to actually here we'll pass in for get pay we'll pass in the gross pay, and then here for get bonus, so here we'll pass in the bonus. Sorry, I'm typing this at night, so the lights are kind of off here, kind of dim. I never look at the keyboard anyways, but I use those braille things to put my hands on, so sometimes I forget. So basically, in Python, or basically just in coding in general, we have getters and setters. So you can automatically create those. I don't know if you can create those in Python with IDE, but I know in like in Visual Studio you can create them. I think even in JetBrains you can, in IntelliJ. I believe in C line you can create getters and setters for C. But basically a getter is just, it's an accessor function or a method. In Python it's a function. So it lets you access data, and a setter function allows you to modify the data. So they're commonly used across programming. They're always handy to just keep your code to use getters and setters. It keeps things simple. Like if you want to get something, you just call get. If you want to set something, you just call set, and just make them like that, so it's easy. So any variable that you want to get or set, you can always just tag it to a get. So in this case, we can say, okay, well we have a variable named, actually sorry, this should be get gross pay, but basically we have a variable here that's gross pay. And if we want to get it, we can say, okay, well we have a function called get gross pay, and we can get it later on. So that's easy for us to say get or set. So that way any variable we have, we can always get it or set it, if you know what I mean. So in this case here, if we have a bonus variable, we can tag on get to it, create it as a function, so that we can get it in another function perhaps, if you know what I mean. Or we can get that data and put it in like a span of functions, or something like that. Or we can set it later on from another function. So it's easy to modify your data with get and set. So I'd keep it like that, and we'll be continuing to use getters and setters throughout the series, just to keep it simple. I think it's a good concept though. It helps you remember that if you want to get something, you can set your variables and all that. So it's always helpful to have getters and setters. Okay, so here we have get gross pay and then get bonus. So here we'll call it def, we'll create a function here, def get gross pay, as we said. And it takes a gross pay variable. You can name them whatever you want. What was that? So then here we'll say that contribution points to gross pay times what we'll call our constant here, our global constant contribution rate. So if you're in pycharm, you can just type C for any variable and you can find it and then hit enter, as long as you've already defined it. That works across pretty much all IDEs. So then here we can say print contribution. So here we can print a string to the user, an alert. We can say contribution for the gross pay rate is. We can have a $sign that we can call the format function, and the same line with a comma, and then we'll call format then when in the format function you have to tell it what you want to format. So we'll say contribution, then we'll hit comma, and then I'll put my format string here, and I'll say we want a comma dot 2f. So we want commas in the number we want it to 2 decimal places. And after that function, we'll have another one. So here we'll say def get bonus, pass in bonus, or it takes a bonus. Takes a bonus variable. So show, get bonus. We're passing in a bonus. And then here, whoops, we'll say that we want to we'll say that we have another contribution variable. We could have just said val or var, whatever we want, but in this case, we want to make it obvious. So we'll say we have contribution points too. And we'll say that it's bonus times the constant contribution rate, the global constant. And here we'll call the print function. We'll say that the contribution for the bonus pay is. You could pretend like this is someone's Christmas bonus or something. And we'll say that we want to format it because it's a money, or it's currency, so we want to format it in code to have it print out nicely. So you want to say, okay, we want to put a $sign in that, then we say we want to add a format. We want to call the format function. We want it formatted nicely. So we say we want to format our contribution. This is local. This is different than this one, of course. So we have two different local contributions. The scope for this contribution is the get bonus function. So here we're saying, okay, well, we want to format contribution with the formatting string, a comma, and then a dot, and then 2f again. That should be all. And then here at the end, of course, we'll just call the main function. We'll just have a main function call, and that's all. That should be all. So the whole point of this code is just to show the example that we have a global constant here. So this is a global constant. It's accessible in any function, of course, because a global variable, or a global constant in this case, pretty much any global variable can be accessed by any function. But the thing is that you can manipulate it in any function as well, so be careful. Like here we could set it to, we could say we want contribution rate to be set to like 5. Here we can set it again to 6, and then here we could set it to like 10,000, whatever we want, right? But each time you can change it. You can access it in different functions. You can change it. You can reset it. You can repoint it to different things. That's the whole point of a global variable, or in this case a constant. But in this case, since it's a constant, you're really not supposed to change it. That's the whole point of a constant. In Python, there is no actual constant keyword, which is interesting, because in other languages, actually, they have like a const in C, or they have the final keyword in Java. So what happens is, if you tag something with final or constant in those languages, and you try to change the constant later on, the program crashes because it's an error. So it's interesting that Python doesn't have that. It's kind of a setback, but I guess that's just how Python was made. There is no constant keyword to make sure that a value stays the same. So yeah, I guess Python doesn't have that. Doesn't have that tool, but basically you just have to be careful with that. If you want something to stay the same, I guess you just have to make sure that it does. You can't have it automatically stay the same. So different languages have their ups and downs, I guess. Maybe perhaps that's a negative. for Python, because if you do need a value to stay the same and someone changes it later on, let's say you have a programmer that like you're working in a team of coders and you code something and you want it to stay the same for like an app, but another coder on the team changes it by accident and then messes up the whole thing, so that can happen. So perhaps Python wouldn't be the language to use, but if you guys are using Python, well, that can be a problem, I guess. So yeah, there you go, that's global constants. So we'll be continuing on to value returning functions in the next video. So if you guys like the video, you can like the channel, you can like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're interested in learning more coding tutorials from me, Code Invest. And if you guys are into investing or trading stuff, be sure to subscribe if you'd like, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Thanks for watching.